Hey, boys and girls, how are you doing? This is Mr. Vanderclock with your weekly read aloud. I know a lot of you enjoy the weekly read aloud. I've talked to a few of you over the last few weeks and your parents, and I know how much you enjoy this. So we're going to continue this on for the next 5 weeks. I've enjoyed picking out some of the books. I've been able to read some of my favorite books, and this week is no different. So this week, for our read aloud is another book by Oliver Jeffers. So Oliver Jeffers is the author and illustrator who wrote the book Stuck that I read a couple weeks ago. And so this is another book that he wrote, which is another fantastic book. And it's just a fun book. It's just a fun book to read. And it's called This Moose Belongs to Me. Okay, so I'm going to try to get in a position here so you can see the picture as well through the screen. Again, it's a little bit difficult to do that. But again, one of my favorite books. So here we go. So get this right. There we go. It says Wilfred owned a moose. Really? Owned a moose? Oh, goodness. Let me fix the book a minute. I've read this book so much that it's like falling apart. Oh, goodness. Yep, that's the right spot. Okay. Just going to have to be extra careful now. Going to have to tape that when I'm done here. It says he hadn't always owned a moose. The moose came to him a while ago, and he just knew that it was meant to be his. He thought he would call him Marcel. It's an interesting name. He began following Marcel, explaining the rules of how to be a good pet. Much of the time, it seemed as though the moose wasn't listening, but Wilfred knew he was, mostly because he followed rule number 4 very well, which was not making too much noise while Wilfred plays his record collection. Sometimes the moose wasn't a very good pet. He generally ignored rule 7, which was going whichever way Wilfred wants to go. The moose had a very good sense of direction, and Wilfred did not. And because the moose was particularly poor on rule number 7, subsection B, which was maintaining a certain proximity to home, Wilfred quickly learned to bring some string along on their outings so he could find his way back again. Sometimes the moose was an excellent pet. He had no trouble with rule number 11, which was providing shelter from the rain. Or rule number 16, which was knocking down things that are out of Wilfred's reach. Wilfred says, "Good work." One day, as Wilfred discussed their plans for the coming year on a particularly long walk, he made a terrible discovery. Oh no, what do you think it's going to be? What do you think that terrible discovery is going to be? Someone else thought she owned the moose. This lady says, "Rodrigo, you're back!" Wilfred was dumbstruck. This moose was Marcel, not Rodrigo. The old lady was mistaken, and Wilfred thought it only proper that he correct her. "Hey, this moose belongs to me," he explained. And to prove it, he called Marcel. "Heel." But the moose did not respond. He seemed more interested in the old lady. "Good, Rodrigo." This moose listens about as well as my dog listens. Fine. Embarrassed and enraged, Wilfred rushed off for home. But in his haste and miles from anywhere, he tripped over his string and got tangled up. And there he lay. Wilfred was beginning to get a little bit worried. It was getting late, and the monsters would be out soon. He had just ruled out the last of his options, which you should see his options. He's got a bear with an axe. He's got a hammer. He's got a lightning strike. He's got the penguin, which is another one of Oliver Jeffers' books. He writes about the penguin. He's got a saw here. He's got a shark right here, and down here says, "When along came the moose." So he was thinking about all those ideas, and then the moose finally came. And performed rule number 73 brilliantly, rescuing your owner from a perilous situation. All was forgiven, and perhaps Wilfred admitted he never really owned the moose anyway, because you can't really own mooses. They're wild animals. Nobody owns them. With that in mind, he and the moose reached a compromise. The moose would agree to all of Wilfred's rules whenever it suited him. And then on the back page here it says, Dominic, you're back, and you brought me an apple. So somebody else thinks that they own the moose. So silly. Oh my goodness. Well, boys and girls, I hope that you enjoyed that read aloud. I know I definitely enjoy that book. I definitely enjoy Oliver Jeffers, one of my favorite authors. So anyways, I hope that you have a great week. I hope that you're doing well. It's been a beautiful weekend. So hopefully that you've gotten outside if you're able to and enjoyed the sunshine. I know I have. So, hey, make it a great week, everybody. I hope that you're all doing well, and we'll catch you again next week.